Today you join me in a Golf R. So, Golf ranges start at £20,000 on the road, and Golf R ranges start at about 37,000 on the road. But you want to go for one like this with things like the performance pack. You're looking more at just under £43,000 on the road. But when you think about £43,000 and then you think about this type of noise, you start to think it's worthwhile. And the main thing that I really want to put across is that this being in a wagon, it doesn't look like a Golf R. It looks like a Golf TSI or TDI R-Line. This is a sleeper wagon, and that's exactly why I think this is, and you'll soon find out, the perfect all-rounder that you could ever need in your life. Fuel economy, and in this test, this is around town fuel economy. I'm aware that if you're looking at buying a Golf R, fuel economy may not be of your utmost interest, but it's good to know what you're going in with, because what's written isn't what you will get. Realistically, this is a car which will turn around 20 to 35 miles per gallon around town, depending on the type of traffic you get. So I'm going to demonstrate a normal amount of traffic, a slight commute, and then I'm going to tell you what the real world fuel economy is around town. Like that, with minimal effort. And there was a fair amount of start-stop, and there was one bit where I had to blip to get out. We're looking at 29 miles per gallon, 29.3 to be exact. So for around town, for a 2 litre 300-ish brake horsepower all-wheel drive wagon, that's pretty good. It bodes well for what you can potentially get on the motorway at 60, so I'm going to find that out soon. Starting outside, which is where I think this really is stunning. It's, you know, the Golf is a good looking car, the Golf R looks great, and the basic wheels don't look bad, but these 19-inch wheels look absolutely superb. Now these 19s are part of the performance pack, so it does cost extra, an extra £2,400, but that's not all you get. You get a de-restricted top end and you get some outside bits and pieces. The performance pack does add, but it is quite an expensive option. But continuing outside, it's a wagon, and for the most part, generally people will look at this and just think it is that a Golf wagon. Little would they know that it's got 310 PS, 380 newton meters of torque, gets to 62 miles an hour in like 4.8 seconds, although this wagon may be slightly slower. They wouldn't look from the outside, because this looks like a normal Golf with some options on it obviously, but the Golf is a great looking car, great sleek lines, and they've really improved on the Golf year by year. I drove the newer version of the Golf GTI, and at that point I thought that was the ultimate hot hatch daily, because it got good fuel economy, it took a reasonable amount of equipment, and generally it was quite cost effective and looked great. So what this is from the outside is that car, but with more power. It's still great looking, it still turns around alright fuel economy, but for the most part it looks like a Golf wagon that looks really pretty in every single way, but underneath is an absolute monster. Next up is somewhat of a further economy test, so motorway miles, where we know this around town can turn around okay fuel economy for the type of car it is. On a motorway, when you're sat for a longer amount of time at a lower speed, I'm going to knock it down to 60. What return are you going to get for that? So let's find out. That's not bad fuel economy at all, but what you do need to bear in mind is that was a very flat piece of road. I didn't get like held up behind anyone or anything, and had I pumped the speed up to about 70, then all of a sudden that realistically would have gone down probably quite substantially, but the potential is there. Perhaps even with an economy-based remap to give you a bit more power, but definitely more frugality, we're on to a winner. You move inside and you kind of get a Volkswagen Group feel. It is very Volkswagen Group. I couldn't differentiate between this easily and the interior of the Arteon I've just had, and equally then onto my, my older Passat and the Passat that I had and I reviewed with Volkswagen. They have a very particular interior design which does include a lot of plastics, but it's hard wearing and it's comfortable. These seats are superbly holding through the corners, and in the back your passengers get ample legroom and you have ISOFIX as standard. Optioned onto this car is digital display, and then obviously you then get the slightly bigger nav screen with that. And this digital display is a superb thing. Although the numbers are quite big, it's almost as if Volkswagen were kind of targeting a generation with bad eyesight. These dials are really big. Aside from that, inside it's comfortable, it's quiet, and it's really easy to just be comfortable in this car, basically. Equipment test time. So part of the gig test, just seeing how capable the Golf is, and really it's going up right against my Passat. So let's see. That's easy peasy, everything's fitting without question. Not as spacious as a Passat, but equally shows the versatility of a Golf wagon. So have a look at this. When it comes to boot space, that's where the fact that this is a wagon kind of makes it obvious as to why you should really have this as a wagon. The boot space is phenomenal, you can fit anything in there. I mean, currently I'm driving around with an Abarth factory exhaust in the back and it fit without question, easy peasy. From the inside looking out as well, just to note, you do have really good visibility, although the centre mirror is a little bit strange. Generally though, visibility all round is really easy, especially in a wagon with the extra windows in the back. On this wonderful rainy wintry evening, gig test time. So everything's in as it needs to be, and I have a gig which is relatively local, which makes a nice change, but the fact still remains the same. How comfortable, how frugal in real world, not ideal circumstances. What is it actually gonna get? How comfortable it is, how everydayable is it? Let's go. Few miles later and we are at 33.3 miles per gallon, so not super duper, but it's okay considering it's got 300 horsepower and gets to 62 miles an hour in 4.8 seconds ish. As a roundabout thing to drive around town, it's easy with good visibility, it's really comfortable. Generally the harsh ride isn't too harsh when you're in comfort or in eco. Put it into race and it does become a little bit much around town, but generally it's a daily all-rounder. On this little gig test, passed with flying colours. Moving to performance is where really the Golf shows its true talent. So it's got full motion, four-wheel drive, it doesn't get stuck anywhere, and realistically even in snow you're going to be moving around. Now performance is where I really think the Golf R stands out above the competition in the range at least. See, 310 PS, so probably 304 brake horsepower, 380 newton meters of torque. It will propel you to 60 miles an hour, 62 miles an hour in 4.8 seconds. Now with the performance pack you get a de-restricted top end, so you're going to go soaring above 155 miles an hour where appropriate. And really, for the most part, this car is idiot proof. The four-wheel drive will stick you into corners that you thought that you were going to end in a bush. Well, you're not going to, because it will just stick the whole way through without question. Really, the fault then lies in the fact that this car's almost a bit too idiot proof. While it does hold you in, the steering's a little bit numb, and it meant that you didn't get really good feedback from the road. It's still a great driving car, and I still think it's a superb driving car. But when you consider it to the likes of something like an RS3 or an M140, they've got a lot more engaging driving experiences. This seems quite a bit less, really. Car meets, and every now and then in a video I go to a car meet. This particular car is definitely one of those types of cars, because it's going to have a type of owner that will go to a car meet because you love cars. I've said cars quite a lot in this, so I'm just going to get down to it. I'm now going to drive to a car meet. And when it comes to economy, really that's the biggest letdown. Combined, they say they should get 40, and I've been doing a combined run, and I'm going to have a look right here, and I'm getting 27.5. Realistically, on a good combined run, you'll see about 31 or 32. Around town, you're more likely to see 20 to 24. and on a run, if you're really lucky, up to about 40 to 42. I mean, I did a test where it came in at about 44, but I was really lucky, and I drove at 60. Put normal driving into that, you're seeing like 35 to 38. But as a summary all round, it's a great sounding car, it's a safe car, it's an easy car to drive. My only issue with it is that it's too easy to drive. Even in race mode, even doing launch control, you don't ever have to think about anything you're doing because the car does everything for you. There's no skill to drive this car. And I love it, and I love it in every way because it's a versatile car. The fuel economy is not great, but you don't buy one of these and think about fuel economy. It's miles per gallon, not miles per gallon. And in every other way, it's just superb. If you've got kids and you need to do a school run, you can easily fit 2 ISOFIX seats in the back. If you need to drive down to Cornwall, well, the fuel tank's big enough and the boot's more than big enough. I think in a wagon, this car really is something entirely new and entirely different. It gives you this whole new dynamic, and it reminds me, the old Passat, or the R36s, they were just superb cars. They were proper sleepers. No one knew they were fast until they put their foot down and just hauled ass. And that's exactly what I think this is. It's a sleeper that you can't tell is fast until you're overtaking the car in front of you who's not expecting it and thinks that you're a 1 litre Golf TSI that costs 20,000. Well, you cost 43,000. You've got a lot more bang for your buck.